Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is finally out, and how the hell am I going to do this review without spoiling anything? I guess we'll see. Welcome to the Beniverse. Hello, my name is Ben Friedman here from the Beniverse, and today I'm talking one of my most anticipated movies of the year, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And like I already stated, this movie is going to be impossible to review without said context and without spoilers. So I'm going to try my best, but this is going to be such a vague review that I'm going to be using a bunch of buzz terms without trying to say anything, because the plot just starts off in this movie, and I don't want to spoil a second of it because the trailer is actually, to some degree, pretty misleading. You don't exactly know what the story for this movie is going to be. So like I said, I'm just going to dive into this. And let's just talk about what I liked of this movie. And what I liked about this movie is the performances. The performances from top to bottom in this movie are really great. If you've been reading reviews about it, you've heard that Elizabeth Olsen steals the show. It's no exaggeration. She's the best character in this movie. I think the Scarlet Witch story arc is so impactful in this movie. You need to see WandaVision to understand what is going on in this movie. So do be warned, if you haven't seen WandaVision, you're going to be lost. This one does rely a lot on the TV aspects of Marvel. Weirdly enough, this is the first one that I think really connects from the TV to the world. There's been maybe hints and stuff in other ones or nice nods, but this is one where it's critical to understand WandaVision. And the more you know, like the show What If, the more helpful it's going to be, because that's a show that dives solely into the multiverse. So that is another one that's really helpful to watch. But yes, Elizabeth Olsen is wonderful in this film, as is Benedict Cumberbatch. I think this is his best performance as Doctor Strange. He gets the most to do, along with Rachel McAdams, who they bring back from the original film. Their dynamic and relationship is much more emotionally impactful in this story, and it's much more resonating. She feels much more like a real character compared to, I think, the first, where she is just the love interest. They do a lot more with these two characters in the film, which is something that I appreciated. And yeah, I think from start to bottom, all the performances are really, they're just bringing their A game into this movie, with, again, Elizabeth Olsen just kind of stealing the movie from scene to scene. But newcomers also get their moments to shine, like America Chavez, who is the new character, who, again, if you know her powers in the comics, you kind of know what's going on. If you don't, that's going to be a fun surprise for you. But yes, I thought that actress was really good, and I thought she and Strange had a really good dynamic that worked a little bit too similar to other dynamics Strange has had in the MCU, but for the most part, I did think that worked really well. There's a few other things about this movie that I can say without spoiling anything. Visually, you knew it was going to be a masterpiece. It is just awe-taking to just see some of the visuals come alive. Sam Raimi just brings it all in a really just out there, extravagant way. When you play in the multiverse, you get some crazy visuals, and you got some crazy visuals. I now touched on Sam Raimi, who's kind of the elephant of the room, because if you know Sam Raimi, he has a very particular style of direction. He kind of toned it down for the Spider-Man films, but they're still in those films. There's a level of directorial flair, comedic sensibilities, and horror sensibilities that are in his direction, and they're present in this film. Wow, this film has some legit scares in this. This is not a movie for young audiences. They're going to be pretty scared out of their minds in a few scenes. Sam Raimi's direction is very noticeable. That's all I'll say for this spoiler-free review. It feels different from the MCU, and I don't know how I feel about it fully. I don't know if keeping Scott Derrickson would have been the better choice, or if I like this style and flair. I'm still a little mixed on it. I'm going to see it again, and that will kind of help determine. I think it's well directed. It just does stand in basically stark contrast with a lot of the other MCU, and there is some weird direction in this movie, which, yeah, I can't really say anything else about that, but yes, it's very noticeable. that's what this film is. It's very noticeable in scenes. It's very clear what they're doing at times, and I liked it, but it might rub some people the wrong way. If you're going into this movie thinking this is Avengers Endgame or a Spider-Man No Way Home with just all these crazy reveals, you're going to be disappointed, just straight up. There is some fun and surprises to be had in this movie for sure. This is not the level of event of an Avengers Endgame. There are certainly scenes in this film that are very exciting, and I think a lot of general audiences, and especially comic book fans, are going to have fun with it. But yeah, do not go in with the belief that this is going to be the next Avengers Endgame where we're going to see every superhero. This film's much more contained than I thought it would be. It really sits in its own like kind of box, and this is where this universe lies, and it doesn't feel as consequential to the overall storytelling as I thought. I thought it was going to be kind of like before Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, after Doctor Strange. It's still a Doctor Strange story at its core. I will say the character of Doctor Strange at times gets lost in his own movie, and it can become other things, and it kind of just feels like he can just be present but not necessarily the driving force. It's a multiverse movie, and a lot of it, and you don't get a ton of time spent in the multiverse, but you do when you do get it, it's pretty crazy satisfying. It's really cool to see, and like I said, it does deserve the title Multiverse Madness, and specifically the madness. This film is crazy on a lot of levels. Yeah, I can't say much else about this film without spoiling it because I'm already coming really close. What I will say, Danny Elfman's score is incredible. It's one of the best, most notable scores. Yeah, the direction is very present. The performances are really good. And this film takes a lot of bold choices, a lot of which might not always pay off. But I'm glad that they took these choices, and here's what I'll say, and I'll get more into this in my spoiler review, and maybe after you see this movie you'll understand. This film feels like a comic book in the way it brings and introduces certain ideas and story arcs and characters. I'm getting a little close, so I won't say anything else, but I think after you see the movie, you'll kind of know the tone I'm setting there. It's not a perfect movie. I think this film has its flaws. I'm still a little unsure how I feel about the direction of this movie. It is a weird movie. It's too fast for its own good. This film does not get a second to breathe. It is so just chaotic, almost by design, where you're just with these characters. It's an adventure from 2 hours. It is an adventure for 2 hours. I was engaged with it. I never was bored watching this movie. I really can't say more about this movie without spoiling it, so I'm gonna shut up now. You can check out my spoiler review next week on this channel. My review of it out of 4 stars. Right now, I'm at a 3. I had trouble determining exactly where I was. At one point, I thought I was going 4 for the sheer ambition. Then I thought 3.5. Then for a second, I'm like, is this a 2.5? And then I'm like, I'm sitting at the 3. I need to rewatch this film before I do my spoiler review. There's a lot in this film to take. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure where I am, but I think I like it more than the original Doctor Strange, which I gave a 3-star review. So yeah, right now I'm giving it a 3-star review out of 4. 3 stars out of 4 for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Check out my spoiler review next week. And if you like this channel, please make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness